What's up, everybody? Back again, Warp Charge Gaming, live at Battlegrounds. This is episode 93, and I'm George, and this is Chris and James. And we do this every week on Thursday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And that's why it's episode 93, because we've done it 93 weeks in a row, practically. Today's a special day, because James' birthday. What's up? Happy birthday, James. Hell yeah.
What's up, guys? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. See, I'm still not even missing a day, even when it's my birthday.
That's right.
My God.
That's right.
That's commitment.
Dedication. Gotta love it. And I mean, it's a interesting time in the 40K world. That's usually what we talk about on this this talk show. We play a lot of games, and we cover games, tabletop wargaming particularly. It's always funny, like just the other day, somebody asked what I do, and I was like, yeah, I film games. And usually their first thought is video games, obviously. What up, Big Cleat? So you always got to be like, no, tabletop war games. You ever heard of Warhammer? Miniatures, little army guys fighting each other. It's always like to say 40K in a nutshell or tabletop war gaming. It's a whole nother like subculture of like just totally unknown to people if they haven't thought about it before. What are you spinning around there? That a salamander, James?
It is. It's Big Cleats.
Oh, Big Cleats salamander.
Oh, nice.
Hell yeah. Very cool. He's looking cool. He's got a nice cape action going on there. Very nice. Do I see you got a fish tank or something in the background, James?
I do.
That's impressive, dude. You got it classed up in there. We got Sheldon in. Nice to see you, Sheldon.
Fish tanks are cool, bro. Fish
Yeah.
tanks are cool.
James' studio is classy. If you guys aren't aware, we are the trio here. I'm in Richmond, Virginia at our home store, Battlegrounds. And Chris is in Tennessee right now, hopefully coming home soon. And James is in Illinois. And so you're kind of getting perspectives from three different gaming scenes, just from us being in different locations right now, which, travel around a lot of major events. Adepticon was coming up, and that's in James' neck of the woods. Chris and I have gone there 2 years in a row these past 2 years. And
not this year.
Not going this year. Yeah, there's Sheldon saying, yeah, Adepticon just got canceled.
Hey, so I was planning on pulling the Chris maneuver. I was planning on not buying anything and going in and being like, all right, if I do want to play, I'm gonna try to hop in right now. And I was gonna go that route. And I'm so happy I went that route.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
this
kidding.
Is the year that I was gonna cancel and not go to Adepticon, and this is the year Adepticon canceled.
Yeah, I'm praying.
And I'm not stuck in the refund policy waiting list of like what's gonna happen with the refunds.
Yeah, I got lucky because I found out I couldn't go after already buying all my stuff and passed the refund part, and now I have an opportunity to get credited for the year next, even though that was still kind of an available thing. But yeah, man, I'm glad just not to be the heads of the organizers that are Adepticon. It's already so much to tackle just to put on the event, let alone to reverse everything and not do it,
Oh, it's rough, man.
I think I just saw 18 years running or some shit. Like, yeah, I got it pulled up right here, actually.
The email.
Since the very first Adepticon held 18 years ago. That's crazy. So yeah, I feel bad for all the folks that wanted to go for their first time, and that such a historical event won't be happening, which we were just mentioning before the show starts. That's going to make a little bit of a different splash in the scene this year, this 2020 season. Adepticon is the first historical major to kick off the 2020 ITC. And now we don't have that, which usually historically follows the FAQ from GW. We get a preview that we were expecting from Games Workshop. There's a lot of hot news to be shown.
Yeah, I mean, Adepticon tends to be one of the biggest previews, honestly. Last year we got the Age of Sigmar Slash Demons, the new Keeper of Secrets, all that beautiful, beautiful jazz, and including the new Sisters of Battle, which we now see splashing on the scene pretty regularly. We don't know what's happening with that piece. We don't know what's happening with the FAQ. And as George mentioned, for the event organizers, it's already a huge challenge. I'm in a chat with a few people, and one of the guys who provides almost all the terrain for the Atlanta Open or whatever, the Atlanta Open. No, ATC, sorry, not Atlanta Open. He's freaked out because he's like, yo, if this event rolls around and we're dealing with issues like this, that's a huge personal sunk cost for me personally.
Oh, yeah. I'm terrified. I mean, Sheldon just mentioned there he's definitely worried about BAO and the Bay Area Open. Nova is not till the end of August, but I would be. That's the one that's in our neck of the woods. I just got my hotel, and I want that, man. I love Nova. I'd be so sad.
Yep. And somebody mentioned in the 40K chat, I think the Maryland Open, which I hadn't personally been aware of, like they've been canceled already this year as well.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's becoming a legal measure, not even just like we care about our attendees, but literally forced by the state of emergencies and shit like that. So pretty wild. Definitely. Poor James's internet's not going so well. I definitely am. It's definitely concerning and wild times we live in. You know, for people, I mean, we love going to events, whether we're throwing them ourselves or going out to them. And I mean, music, you know, concerts and all that. There's so much good things that are art, you know, the stuff that people come together for the right reasons that won't be able to go down. So it's kind of a sad time, man. It's kind of a sad time. You're lucky to get to wipe your ass if you can get enough toilet paper at the fucking grocery store, dude. Telling you, man. People are going nuts buying those things.
So, yeah, that's really funny. It's unrelated to 40K, but my lady actually gets all her toilet paper from work. That's how we stay nice and stocked.
Nice and fresh.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as her office stays open, we're golden.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I'm ready to get creative. I'm not scared. See, that's the beauty of tabletop gaming. It's analog. You know, we lose the power and shit. I don't know why a virus would make us lose power, but if it did, we're gonna still play 40K, baby. We're gonna still roll. We're gonna roll them dice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Ben is saying they're going through with plans for Nova, but they're preparing for the possibility of being shut down. Yeah, it'd be a state force thing. I do assume.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, there's James. You're moving a little bit there, buddy. Yeah, you look like you're in there. Yeah, so that's wild and crazy. You know, definitely not stopping anything too soon as far as the events we're doing. You know, especially talking about large events. I mean, hell, this past weekend was awesome, man. We did back-to-back tournaments. If anybody's been, you know, in tune with the channel and getting the notifications, you were seeing us streaming all weekend long. I think 6 bat reps total if you count Saturday, Sunday, because we did a 40K doubles event on Saturday, and then we did a Sigmar event on Sunday, and it was awesome. The Sigmar crowd has been growing each time. I promised the Sigmar crowd if they consistently for all of season 3, which is what we're in right now for the tournament scene that we're running, if they do 20 plus people for the entire season, then I'm going to throw them a 2-day major. So far we've broken 30 people or 20 people the last 3 events, so that's awesome. 40K had 32 players, and what was really cool is Mark Hertel and Davis Fry, their team got first place with AdMech, and it sent Mark Hertel from 26th in the ITC all the way to fourth place. So I mean that was 22 ranks he jumped up from the strength of our tournament. You know, so far we've done a major event and then a 32-person RTT, and we've been able to make some large impacts in the ITC circuit with just the size of our events at the early stages of the year.
Well, and actually, interestingly enough, related to everything going on, like this is going to be a really weird season in the ITC probably. That's gonna, and I don't say this giving us any more credit because, you know, it's just literally everything going on in current events, but like our events are probably going to have a lot more weight this season, honestly.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's crazy to think, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, I know, you know, there's some high-scoring players. For instance, like Austin Wingfield. He was telling me, I know he just had congrats to him. He just had a kid, and he's saying he's going to be staying at home and rocking the games locally a lot more instead of traveling as much. So definitely going to be some big fish in the pond here kind of deal, and looking forward to seeing how things play out. Up next is this weekend's going to be a kill team tournament. While simultaneously we have a packed house on a 40K narrative escalation league that we're doing in the store. It's ran by William Lancaster and the 30K scene guys. They're real into the narrative style, and everybody's starting out with 500 points and then building to 1,000, 1,500, and 2,000. So there's been a ton of people that have been starting new armies or getting into the hobby for the first time because you have to come painted. So it's a motivation to push yourself. It's 4 events over the course of a year, starting out with 500, second quarter, you know, 1,000, third quarter, 1,500. So a pretty cool way to get people up to speed. Sheldon just said a big major in Spain just got canceled. Yeah, it's crazy times, man. I hope that this kind of goes through its emotional roller coaster and then levels out to be a normal rest of the year.
Agreed.
Who's to say, though, really, right?
It's still in flux.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I have a hard time being surprised by much. Just like I could have thought any day and many days past that a nuke would go off or something crazy would happen. This world's fucking nuts.
Grim dark.
Yeah, so I'm not too surprised. Wonder if we're going to have to play tournaments in Tabletop Simulator now, Sheldon says. Fair, dude.
That's hilarious.
Dude, I love Tabletop Simulator. I haven't done it in a long time, but it damn sure is a way to get games on when you don't have anybody else to play. And we made friends, Hell, Tumby,
For sure.
Yeah, there's some good peeps out there. It's cool to if you're not familiar, and you don't have people to play with, definitely check out Tabletop Simulator. We have a few videos in a playlist on the Warp Charge page just under Tabletop Simulator games, and you can see the environment and how the type of tools that we had to play 40K. Like straight up, you're playing the game. I mean, there's really nothing you don't have in that game besides it just being a different environment, not physically touching models. There's actually a lot of benefits you gain too. I mean, I'm gonna copy paste me 5 knights real quick, You can literally have everything in the game and in multiples. It's a great way to like prepare your deployment zones and kind of look at the way you would deploy versus this or that in what type of deployment map. One thing that was cool, man, is this weekend we talked about this on last week's show, but I got to see the new ITC 2020 missions in effect at our tournament for the first time. I got to see the thing that we instated that every table would place the terrain before each game. So we had player place terrain, we had the new ITC missions. It seemed to go great. There was a lot of very close games, and a lot of quality. Just boards as far as the way people design them in interesting ways. I was nice. It was very nice not to hear he sold the initiative, or pretty much he sold the initiative. I'm glad not to hear that very much.
Yeah.
Because it's a lame excuse. I like eliminating excuses, and it was cool to not have to deal with it. Constantly like patting somebody on the back. I know, man, I'm sorry. I didn't write the rules, bruh. I'm always getting as the TO, why'd you pair me with this guy? It's like, I've heard that joke a million times, brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of events this weekend, James, you did, at this very same day we had our doubles event, you played in a doubles event, and you pulled out a second place finish, huh?
Yeah.
So that's a 3-0 victory, right?
No.
Oh, wow. You still got second with a loss?
Yes.
Damn.
Savagery.
Yes. It was pretty intense, bro. I gotta say. It was an Adepticon team tournament prep tournament. So for the 4-man teams, it was just pairs instead of 4-man, but it was practicing with those formations, those missions.
Yeah.
And now we're not even see that.
Pour one out. Yeah, I was going to say pour one out for Adepticon there, yeah.
Yeah. But it was very interesting with the different deployment zones. The missions had different dynamics, like Grand Entrance, your Warlord had to come in, turn 2 from reserves, and couldn't start on the board. So it was interesting. In our first game, we went against Tau and Thousand Suns. And we thought for sure that was going to be a super hard matchup. But I don't know if you want to say lucky for us or unlucky for them, but it was their very first tournament ever. So they did not optimize. They just kind of played with rubrics and just battle suits and just had fun. And they just made mistakes. So it was a max point victory there.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried to coach them along as much as we could. Made sure they didn't forget rules like their reroll ones and things like that. Helped them out there.
Is this you paired with Simon as well?
Yeah.
Awesome.
This was Alpha Legion with Orcs.
That's fun.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we pulled out lots of tricks. Now our second game, we obviously had max points. There was only one other team with max points, so naturally we paired against each other. And they had Night Lords with what were they with? Dark Eldar. It was Talos.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was the mission where your Warlord has to come on the board second, and whoever gets to go first goes first. No seizing the initiative, and they do tertiaries of first blood. No first strike, first blood. They got to go first. They got first blood. Other than that, we tied the game, so they won by 1 point.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, it was tooth or nail. I thought we had it. We got a little sloppy towards the end. I really feel like I screwed that one up because of the fact that we played sloppy at the end. We didn't think we had enough time, and then there was like 7 minutes left, and like we just squeezed in that last turn. And if I thought we were gonna play that last turn, I probably would have played the turn before it better, where maybe we would have won by 1 point, because they wouldn't have been able to get one of the table quarters,
Yep.
and we would have had more on the primary. So we were in that situation where like I really walked away like, damn, I lost that one. And because the orcs carried their weight, they eventually got tabled, so we couldn't get table quarters because the way the mission was, you had to have 2 eligible units, and eligible units is a unit from each like person's army.
Yeah.
So once he was tabled, there was no way for me to achieve those type of points because his half was gone.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a bummer, where they were able to kind of steal that one from us. But then they got to go against the other top list, and the other top list was a guard parking lot, where they got creamed and got 0 points. Where we went and played Iron Hands. Both players had Iron Hands, and they were playing with the nerf, but they still had their pack and heat,
Yeah.
and it was a lot to deal with. They took out all of our smashy guns in the very beginning. We just played it really smart, and they chose wrong because it was a mission where there was an attacker defender situation, and they won the roll off, and they chose to be defenders, so that we got to go first. And the way it worked is when you killed on like the other player's table half. So as an attacker, you only scored kill points if you killed on their half of the table. And for them as defenders, they only killed on their half of the table. They only got points for killing on their half of the table. And in their eyes, they had guns, and they figured we were going to come forward. So a lot of it was going to be on that side of the table, which happened. But we were also spread out in a way that it kind of like cornered them. And it ended up being like they had like a 3 point victory. Or
Wow.
not
Yeah.
victory, but a 3 point loss.
Yeah.
And then we had like a 37 point win.
Yeah.
And because we had a 37 point win, a max, and then the best possible loss you could get, with 19, because it was the differential they were playing with the
Sure.
however many points plus or minus 20, and allowed us to squeak in second. But even if we would have won that game, we still would have lost by points wise if we didn't play them. So the only way like we would have really known who would have like won if we didn't win that, if we would have won that game, is if we would have played them, and we didn't play them. So,
Gotcha.
and honestly, well, that was a list we were a little scared of because we didn't have a whole lot of stuff to kill bigger tank things. We could just play the whole like I touch you game.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, so you made me think about like in the game where you didn't know that it was going to go to the next turn after. This happened this past weekend in both Sigmar and 40K, and I had several conversations about chess clocks this weekend. And it's a conversation I enjoy having. I feel pretty well versed on it as far as like coming up with my, we've talked about our opinions on it many a times, and it's often it's a solution, to when time is a factor. If you guys had been playing with a chess clock in that game, you would have known that you might have 7 minutes on the clock, or you could start to estimate and work towards it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we use chess clocks, it definitely would have used our time more effectively, because we were all seasoned players at this table, and we all were playing pretty quickly. But there is that paralysis by analysis of just sitting there looking at what move to do and discussing it with your teammate. That takes a little bit longer than playing by yourself, because you have that decision in your head where, yeah, you can move quicker moving pieces, but you find yourself deliberating what you're going to do next.
Yeah.
So I found that situation happening, and the tournament organizers suggested chess clocks. He said anyone that has them can use them. If you request them, you can use them. But no one on any table was using chess clocks.
Right.
So that's when it was like a thing for the event, but also the etiquette of like the players were like, hey, let's just have fun today.
Sure.
So we didn't use chess clocks, and it was the only game that it really mattered because it was so tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it didn't go that last turn, they wouldn't have got the points. We would have won, And if I knew we would have gone the last turn and I would have positioned right and shot a unit and killed it, we still would have won. So it was literally a mistake on our end, just playing sloppy towards the end.
Sure.
Because you're just not doing the math. You're not keeping score always as you go along. You're kind of like, all right, here's where we're at, there's where they're at, and
Well,
you
yeah.
just kind of tally it at the end.
I think that's a fun part of what you're describing there is that's another conversation with the chess clock is that who gives if you don't care, like if you're there to have fun or you're kind of matching the environment of like let's have fun, let's be casual, then it is what it is. But like if you're a person that gets poopy pants and you want to find an excuse of why you lost and you want to blame the other person because of time, then it's time to bust out your chess clock. You know, it's a mental state, you know, of perspective about how much you care. And if you want there not to be that as an X factor in your win-loss record, then you should bust one out. If you're there to have fun and win, lose, or draw, it is what it is, then cool, then do that. But I marvel at, you know, I have to deal with the complainers, you know, as a tournament organizer. So I'm passionate about it, you know.
Well, one thing is I definitely did not blame a clock or a time or any of that on our loss. I blamed myself on being sloppy towards the end.
Totally.
And that's surely just my mistake. But honestly, the way I look at it when we walk away from it is we probably would have had a bad matchup against that other army that they played because it was very similar to how we played. And that's why we played such a tight game. So I would imagine that we didn't do well. We wouldn't have placed. We wouldn't have got prize support. We wouldn't have done as well as we did because we did play not the best people, but the second best, because everyone else had a loss besides those two people. And when we played them, we happened to have a better solution to their problem they presented.
Yep. That's cool, man. I dig it. You know, it was crazy at the 40K event here at the store this weekend. There was also an Infinity tournament, and I played the Infinity tournament while running the stream and TOing. It was pretty. It took a lot of. I'd be like, all right, opponent, hold on a second. I'd run and go check the clock. 30 minutes left in the round. Make a quick lap around the store, and then run back and play some Infinity. It was intense.
Oh, I feel bad for your opponents.
Nah. I was on it though, dude. I was highly caffeinated.
Okay.
And like it was crazy how much multitasking I was doing, but you know how sometimes you just got it and you can just spin all those plates. Everything was happening, dude.
It
was like the tournament was running smooth. Everybody was having a good ass time. I was keeping up with everything, keeping the stream going, and I was having some good ass Infinity games. So it was just like it was high energy this weekend.
Sweet stuff, dude.
Yeah, dude. Fucking Saturday. I forget what even happened Friday, but I'm pretty sure it was awesome. Playing games.
So were you also judging the Infinity event?
No, I was playing in it.
But you weren't doing both.
No, I was playing in the Infinity
I got you.
Judging the 40K event. And so,
I didn't know if you were judging both and playing the Infinity.
No. Yeah, I'd be scared to be a judge in Infinity. I think I'd do decent. But there's some interactions. I'm like, fuck if I know, dude. There is, but yeah, it was a crazy weekend to be rocking those doubleheader games. And I'm pretty sure we did some recordings on Friday too, and then popped right into, me and Mike played that Tyranid match on Friday. Which was a wild game. I was hilarious that Chris was sending to Mike in case Mike's watching. I think Mike's playing 40K in the store right now, actually. But
nice.
Yeah, you know, like Chris was helping him curate a list, and Mike's like, "Oh, we've been talking tactics, your ass is grass." And then everything that you told him not to do, he did. Where he put his hive guard, his like clutch hive guard, in range of my obliterators turn one without even having to advance. And in line of sight. I was like, okay, I do my forward operatives, I move 5 inches, and I shoot the shit out of you. And then I rolled max on everything.
To his credit, he is learning the Tyranid rules.
Oh yeah.
Much like you can see like between games, like he's committing the rules to memory much faster now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no. What the big thing for me in that game, man, is like I saw the terrain and I was like, oh no. Those disco lords and demon princes and everything are just gonna run through this terrain real quick.
We're gonna have a party. No, Mike is a vet, and he's a glutton for punishment and likes to learn the hard way. So
me too, man.
He'll be like, fuck it. I'm just gonna put this shit on the table and see what happens. And I often learn a lot through defeat myself. And when I was first getting into Infinity, I would definitely set myself up to just try stuff that probably wasn't good, but it would try the same mechanic a lot and redundancy to get to practice that mechanic a lot, you know? I know whenever I digest a new army or play a new codex, I often will run new things in multiples, even if it's not the wisest choice, just to like feel that mechanic out before moving on to a next and kind of keep adding them in kind of deal.
For sure.
But no, I could already see a much more improved deployment over there. I'm excited to try my list again. We showed on the channel last week with the double Mauler Fiends, the Alpha Legion disco, and then two flawless discos.
Hey,
Yeah.
do you even understand the power of Alpha Legion right now?
Alpha Legion is ridiculously strong, dude.
Dude, like I was playing Alpha Legion as this 1,000 points because you know me, I play Corn.
Right.
It's only when we go to play doubles I pull out some different type of list or army that I normally don't play. It's the only time I do it. And I pulled out this this Alpha Legion list that was just 3 units of cultists that were just objective holders that people ignored and honestly scored us points. Like they were worth every bit of their points. And then you had a unit of berserkers, an 11-man unit of berserkers that like I felt so strong with, that did so well because they could just take punishment and just hand out even more. Like you forward off of them 9 inches, they move 6, and then you're in charge range.
Yeah.
And in every game they did that. And if they didn't do that, my plan was actually no. The second game they didn't do that. The second game they were smart enough, so I put them in the far back, and then I spent 2 command points to put them in reserve.
Right, pick them up and drop them again.
I picked them up and then dropped them, and they literally had to like think about this for a second. It almost went to the TO, but they realized like I was right because of the reserves rule. You have to have half your army on the board, and the other half can be in reserve. But you can't put more in reserves than it's on the board unless it's a drop spot. So they were like, "What the fuck, man? How are you having all these points in reserve?" Because it was literally just 3 units of cultists, a demon prince, a sorcerer, and then the orcs.
And was it the fact that you were doing it after they were already on the table and after they were already deployed and shit?
Yeah, it's because they're already deployed.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I bring them off the table, and then turn 2, they came in. A unit of orcs came in. A unit of obliterators came in, and a unit of warp talents came in. It was literally 1,000 points.
Ouch. Yeah, that sounds good.
So we were just all over the place, man. And like the warp talents didn't even get to charge, even though they get no overwatch, because the obliterators blew up the target that they were planning on charging. We needed to have redundancy to like take it out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, obliterators are freak shows, man. My God.
And then they throw all their las cannons from their dreadnoughts into the warp talons, and the warp talons take it with their 5-up invul neg 1 to hit.
Oh man.
I lost like 1 warp talon or maybe 2, but it was a 6-man unit. So then the 4 dudes jump in their line and like tie up a unit and grab some points.
That's devastating for your opponent. Just like, oh, let me shoot these warped. Oh man, that was bad.
Oh yeah, dude, it felt so good. And then like the obliterators were just like running along the board, dude, getting warp time, putting themselves in positions to shoot at other things. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's super fun playing Alpha Legion and those units that you called out.
Okay, now the thing is we were playing very relaxed, okay? Like, the environment was very, very chill because they would say, I'm putting this unit here, and then I'd be like, hey, I have this stratagem, ambush. You put it down, I can now shoot you with my obliterators.
Right.
So, and they were like, well, shit, now we're not going to put it here. And it's like, if you wanted to, you could claim it there. And then, like, you're screwed. And then there was another situation where I was like, all right, I got this other stratagem where, like, if I play it, you have to be outside of 12 inches from me. And now you have nowhere to go, and you just declare that you were going to use this strat to go here. Right. And now you can't. So, like, you spent yours, and, like, we let it as, like, a wash. Like, okay, you didn't spend yours, I didn't spend mine. But, like,
some good guy 40K.
Oh, dude, it was super relaxed, super chill. Like, but man, if you wanted to be dick nosed in people, dude, you totally could have there, and it would have ruined the vibe because nobody was
Oh yeah,
playing.
I mean that sounds like kind of the gotcha hammer, right? I mean, if you like let people do stuff that strats are the one thing that's like the most hard to keep track of, let alone your own army, not to mention everything else that everybody else can do.
Dude, especially Alpha Legion, that just got these new tricks, and not everyone's playing them.
That's where, as a newer player then to the tournament scene, or even a vet, I mean, like you just have to build a skill set of asking questions, and it's really about knowing what questions to ask, because they don't have to know every strat that you have. They just need to know that those kind of strats exist, and just be like, okay, so what happens if I were to deploy right here? What kind of stratagems do you have to affect when I land from deep strike or whatever? They don't have to, you know.
Not everyone at tournaments are playing Good Guy 40K. And honestly, this is one of the reasons I prefer Team 40K over.
Over singles.
Yeah.
Why'd you pause?
And,
I thought you were reading. Were you reading Kevin Leonard saying you did that to
yeah,
me with my stern?
I did. But I told him he could keep it, and he said no.
Nice.
Because he was playing with his paladins, and they have the strat where they can come 3 inches away.
Yep.
And they declare that one before you declare yours of being 12 or further.
Right, he does
And
that, and you're like...
he played it legit. He played it legit. He was like, yeah, I spent the command point. But he's also an asshole that has a fucking psychic power that gives him a free CP, so...
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Everybody, you know, there's always the fear of the gotcha hammer, and that's the way you battle it, is you ask questions, you know. And
because at tournaments, you don't get always the good guys, you know? You don't get someone that's willing to share the knowledge or tell you ahead of time or tell you when it's about to happen, especially when you're at top tables.
Well, there's also, I just marvel, you know, we talk a lot about like the study of people and stuff on the channel here inside of the gaming world, and it's also a question of like, I've often lost matches in big events where you're supposed to play your most brutal and cutthroat, and I've lost events, you know, because I was playing the nice guy, and I was like, you know, damn, I should have been less open and forthcoming with these moments, and there's a fine line to walk as both the player and as the one that is playing. And honestly, is it the one guy a dick for not saying every stratagem he has available to him when you go to make a move, or is it the other guy's fault for not asking any questions? You know.
Well, the hard truth is it's your fault for not asking the questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the hard truth. But there are people that are willing just to have a good game, and you can literally go to the table and say, "Hey, man, I don't know much about your army. Like, if you got some like secret sauce, like, are you willing to help me out? Like, don't tell me how to play."
Yeah, the trick is it turns asshole or gotcha hammer from there. No, if we're all on the gentleman's side of things, like, hey, you ask questions, I answer them to the fullest, you know, that they are appropriately answered, then cool. It's when you withhold information and don't give them the full story, or
then you're a dick.
Yeah, or you know, they'd make a move and you're like, oh, took your hand off, you're dumb, man. You know,
oh, dude,
that's the dick stuff.
Dude, all right, so we almost had that little situation because the game was getting close.
Right.
But we obviously were gentlemen about it, and we did our thing. But because Simon had one unit of boys left, and that's all he had left on the table.
Yeah.
And they were already in combat. He wanted to roll combat before I could do psychic powers or shooting or anything like that.
Sure.
And like he just wanted to roll it. And like the one dude said it was cool, but his partner was like, "Oh, so you're done with, you're not going to do those other phases?" Because the time was getting close, everything like that.
Right.
And
Don't Tony somebody.
Dude. I was like, no, dude. He just wanted to like this. He just ignore him right now. Just let me finish this real quick.
We're trying to speed this up. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So we kept it legit. We just let him wait, but like it was kind of those situations. Like, dude, one dude said it was okay. Like it's their thing. Let us just go. But he wanted to be like, dude, it's so close. Like if they just do this, we might win. Like you could feel it, you know?
Yeah.
It was a very tight game. So I understand. He understood. His partner understood, and it was just like, nah, dude. Let's just go through the motions normally. We'll get there.
Yeah. It's not the way you want to win, you know, is by like denying somebody like the full turn. Really, like this.
I don't know, dude. Victory is crack, dude. Sometimes you might.
It is.
A bit.
that's where you can feel good about it if you have a chess clock. If somebody runs out of a time on a chess clock, and you got fucking 30 minutes left to go, I will brutally rape my turns points. So I'll just be like, yep, you can't do shit. I'm scoring everything. Fuck you. You didn't play fast enough. Ha ha.
Well, see, and like for the warp charge major, man, like I obviously did not want to do as badly as I did, but like that was one of my big goals going into the tournament, like rocking a 140-mile army. I was like, oh, dude, I'm so scared about time. I'm so scared about time. I got in 5 turns with every opponent with time to spare, and like I felt good about that.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that for me is like you got to go through the motions if you're going to play a time-intensive army,
Oh, yeah.
and obviously you don't want to deny your opponent their full game.
Dude, that was one of the super fun things about the Sigmar tournament this weekend is that my corn army is like super brutal. And it's more of a mission dependent or just like how things kind of work out. Like it always has a good chance basically to perform. And if win or lose, it's because of a good game. And every game I played with that army was fast, brutal, devastating on one way or the other, but both sides. And they finished with like an hour and 10 left to spare. And I was like, yep, this is a fun army to play because of that. It is super nice to leave time on the clock and be able to finish a full game. It feels satisfying,
Yeah.
I certainly can't think about not finishing a game. And I honestly, I haven't got to play in near as many tournaments as I've actually thrown. That's for damn sure. But I definitely don't like not being able to finish a game out.
Yeah, and I mean, I've had victories before even where like I had feel bads because like I only got through like turn 2 with my opponent.
Oh
and
yeah.
It's like, oh dude, like I could have scored so many more points. Like,
that feels gross.
Dude, turn 2 does feel gross.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's kind of how our first game was going with the newer guys. They were definitely playing a lot slower. We kind of let them take their time. But we knew like victory was in our hand. Like,
yeah,
it was pretty handedly. So like we pretty much let them take all the time. Then there was like 35 minutes left, and we finished the last 2 turns of like going to only to turn 4 because they were tabled. So it was nice to like let them play slow and give them their time. But yeah, normally, you gotta be like speed that shit up, man.
yeah.
There's certain verbiage and stuff that I plan on. I've said this before, but definitely trying to make some tutorial series and just kind of like behind the scenes videos or whatever about
How to hurry the fuck up.
Yeah, how to hurry the fuck up. Yeah. No,
I like that title. I
Yeah.
really do. I think it's gonna go a long way.
That is a pretty good title. Community building, tournament etiquette. And just like that, how to behave with as far as what's expected of you, kind of putting it into one place. I look forward to doing that. I think they're interesting topics.
Yeah, they are interesting topics because it does get talked about at tournaments.
Yeah, it's a gray area, and I want to demystify the tournament experience for those that don't necessarily have the muster to go try one out yet. There's so many people that say I play for fun. I don't want to chase the meta or whatever. I think I really want people to be able to have fun in a competitive environment, even if they may not have a competitive army.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many ways to bring like really funny armies to an event.
I agree.
Hagen in the team match, he paired up with Josh Kinder, and they brought Angrath, Mortarion, and Magnus.
That's funny.
Okay, they're not winning any games, but it sure is badass to see Angrath run around. And they actually tabled Custodes and some other Marine player on the first game.
Oh man,
that's so cool.
Took the victory, but it was badass. Every time you walk around, there was only one Angrath at that event being a badass.
Yeah. We're already working on our next doubles list, which is going to be Tau with orcs.
Okay.
I saw Simon posting about that in the 40K thread.
We were talking some
tech.
sauce.
Well, it's just because for the greater good, like their Overwatch, they can just Overwatch anybody. Like anybody.
Also,
So,
They just got their FAQ as well to the new Greater Good Psychic Awakening. Apparently, we were talking about this on the chat right before the major. There was a judge call on whether we needed to, they have a stratagem that lets them take additional relics, which in their case is the signature systems, and then they can take instead of relics or signature systems, prototype weapons that can actually put on non-character models like broadsides and riptides with the ion accelerator and the railgun. And it, as written, it didn't have anything saying that you couldn't take the same prototype or same relic more than once in duplication. So we were allowing people to pop that stratagem that lets you take up to three relics total, like your free one and then +2, and letting them take 3 prototype weapons, and then also letting them take 3 of the same type of prototype weapon if they wanted to. And we had no way to call any other, even though it was interpretive and could be open to thinking about it either which way. We let people do it. It turns out we were right about the fact that you could spend the strat on the free relics being exchanged for prototype weapons, but not in that you can take multiples of the same type.
And yeah, so that's also, I think, important trying to characterize arguments in terms of rules with Games Workshop, because the Tyranid equivalent of this with adaptations got ruled differently. You can still take 2 of the same adaptations, but their stratagem is specifically worded you can only get the bonus adaptation once per game. So they're still only limited to 2 adaptations, but they can double up.
And now, are their adaptations actually choosing multiple warlord traits or relics?
So they trade a warlord trait for a adaptation. That's the difference. They don't trade a relic for an adaptation.
Yeah.
So the fundamental core system is different, and Tyranids don't have a way to get a bonus warlord trait. Also, though, the stratagem to get the other adaptation specifically says you can only use the stratagem 1 time per game.
Man, list building nowadays with multiple warlord traits have been getting pretty crazy, man. They're throwing it around for kind of I am Alfarius, the Magister for Thousand Suns, Field Commander for specialist attachments.
It's super interesting because for me, I don't even care.
About the warlord traits or what?
Nope, don't even care. Just don't care.
Yeah, there's no, the Alpha Legion warlord traits are badass, man.
Yep, don't care.
Yeah, you got the one where you can teleport within 3 inches of an infantry model. That's super sick. I've been having a great time. The match I played Mike with on Friday against Tyranids and Chaos, it was actually pretty interesting because I took the Mind Veil on the, I took the We Are Alfarius to make the disco, because you got the Flawless Host disco, the Ultimate Confidence Warlord is a true Warlord. Then you take the Field Commander Warlord trait for Master of the Soul Forge for +2 move. And then you do We Are Alfarius to get another Alpha Legion Warlord trait, which I then took the -1 additional to hit on top of the -1 outside of 12. So you're now -2. You got a -2 to hit disco. Plus I have a fucking Dark Apostle that can do Benediction of Darkness for a -3.
Okay. And then you make him mark a Nurgle and you cast another Neg 1 on him.
You could. I already got -3 stacked with a Dark Apostle. I'm doing him as Slanesh so I can do the fucking advance and charge. But but on top of him being a -2 Alpha Legion disco, I'm putting the Mind Veil relic on him, which is a weird, I think it's hilarious and it's like a fun decision, but I think I want it to work out. I want to try it more times to try to get where it's like it pays off. But instead of the disco having a 12-inch move, it changes his move characteristic to a 3d6 move, which average is worse. You're 3D, you already moved 12 inches, you might be able to
average is 10.
Right. But you gain fly. You can jump over terrain and shit. So when you watch that game, here I can put this disco like in the meat of an L, just like straight up in an L where it'd be a nice long walk around. I'm just jumping right over that shit. And I was rolling below 12 on average. You get to roll, if you're a Celeste, you get to roll 4d6 in advance and charge. So I'm rolling a 4d6 movement, preparing to advance and charge. And being able to jump over the models and the terrain features, you end up going about the same speed with that average benefit, or that additional benefit of being able to jump over some shit. And being -2 to hit, you can kind of run him off on his own a little bit. So I really had a good time doing it.
You know, my favorite relic that I used this weekend was, and
What?
I use it in every game.
The four like
Um,
extra
Hydra's
CP?
Will.
Yeah, yeah. Make them spend an extra CP on a 4
Dude,
plus.
when you're playing doubles, it is devastating.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Devastating,
yeah.
bro.
especially because you guys had the custom detachments that were more restricted, correct?
Bro, they were so restrictive because the way they Adepticon wrote it was if you did the base attachment, you got 5 CP. If you did a command attachment, you got 3, and if it was any of the specialties like Outrider or whatever, you only got 2 CP. And then you got no like Battleforge CP at all.
Yeah,
Oof.
and you're per player limited to only 1 detachment, right?
Yeah, and you're only limited to 1 per
So
attachment. And
if you
then
you'd only
if
get
you
max of
upgrade,
10.
yeah, and if you upgrade your detachment, I mean, you're paying those CP.
Oh yeah, wow. And can you pool your CP pooled amongst the players though,
You,
right?
you can only pool them if you are a bound faction, like if you
Fuck.
are like all the same.
So yeah, your Tau Orcs or whatever, you're not getting to pool your CP
No,
on top of that. Yeah,
so
it's
I
fucking
had
devastating.
5. He had 6. The reason why Simon had 6 is he took the Warlord trait that gives him an extra Fearless bubble and gives him +1 CP. So because CP were super like powerful. And when I use that, like it was insane when someone wants to auto pass morale because they just took a
Nope.
beating. And no, they do it, and it's 2 CP, and then goes to 4 CP. They're just like, well, that's all my CP for my half.
Yeah, that's disgusting, right? Now, did you
Yeah.
say did that rule actually came? You know that you're just reminding me of this came up in the tournament. Now, did you just say like they spend 2 CP and then it costs 4 CP? Because you only roll 1 dice whenever they spend 2 CP. I'm pretty positive. I'd have to read the ruling, the reading on this one, but where I say that, do you think you roll 2 dice? Did they spend 2 CP, James?
I'm pretty sure it's not rolling at all. I will pull it up right now. I'm pretty sure it just doubles the cost of the stratagems.
No, the Hydra's Whale is you have to roll a dice on it. You choose at the start of a battle round once per game. You activate it, and for that entire battle round, whenever they spend whenever they spend command points on a stratagem on a 4 plus, you make them spend 1 extra. And this came up with the Calidus, Calidus Assassin, and the Raven Guard strat. There's actually there's like several instances in the 40k universe where this. George, you got to message LVO folks about this? Oh yeah, there's those once loyal right there. This came up with Ryan's game, and we were talking about how this rule reads, and we looked at the Grand Strategist and some other ability for the guard that also do this. We were looking at all these different instances and how the wording reads differently, and we were looking for FAQs for each of these different books to try to find out if you roll a dice for every CP they spend, or if you only do it when they activate the stratagem regardless how many CP they spend. And the way it reads, it's interpretive to say, because it says when they spend command points on a stratagem, then it says roll a die on a 4 plus. So do you do it for the command points they spent, or because they spent command points on a stratagem is what the question comes down to. And we finally found the FAQ, I believe in 1,000 Suns FAQ. Like it was so wacky, we found the exact same wording in a totally different faction than the ones that were on the table that being described about, but it answered the question that none of the other factions had a FAQ for. And it basically said that whenever something reads, when you spend command points on a stratagem and you roll a dice to cause it to cost more, that it's only a single dice. So the FAQ's out there. I believe it was in the 1,000 Suns.
Damn.
If you remember that,
Well,
Ryan, let me
I
know.
cheated my first opponent, which didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But the other ones, we did not go more than 1.
Oh, I
So
felt terrible, dude, because Ryan called me over, my good homie, to a table to make a judge call. In fact, it might have been his opponent. And it was kind of a heated discussion. Like Ryan felt passionately that you rolled as many dice as the command points they spent, and the other players like, no, I don't think that's how it works. Nobody was saying anything about FAQ, about knowing where that was at. They were just like swearing up and down on both sides. And I read it there in place, and I was like, I feel like that it's saying you only spend 1 dice. Or, you only get to roll once. And I had to make the call in that moment. And Ryan still passionately thought I was probably incorrect. And he lost that game, and it definitely had some game-changing mechanics, him not rolling as many dice as he thought he was supposed to be able to roll. He built a list around this mechanic, and so I was feeling terrible and was very, very relieved when we found the FAQ. He said the Raven Guard FAQ has it, saying I'm going to pull it up real quick for the sake of the prosperity of this conversation, but we can keep talking about whatever. But yeah, you were interpreting it the other way, James.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pull it up just for the sake of other people out there that might be playing this rule potentially incorrect, because we have found the truth there. And it was very satisfying for both Ryan, because he didn't care, he just wanted to play correctly, and myself to make the correct judge call. Luckily, I was able to make the right call. This is in the Raven Guard FAQ, believe it or not. So now I'm looking for that while we hang out here. So it is devastating. I can imagine in doubles, dude, that would be fucking terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we were going to use the relic on the shock attack gun guy, but we didn't go that route. So we had like an extra spot open for a relic. I didn't need a relic. He didn't need a relic. So it seemed like a good one to use, because it's only a once per game.
Mm-hmm.
With regards to, if I use the Stranglehold, each roll is rolled, so if your opponent spent command points to use stratagem, you would roll 1d6 for the, I think this is pretty much it. I got it up on the screen. This is in the Raven Guards, and it's like, so this is basically rules that read the exact same way. If I use the Stranglehold stratagem, and I also have a Calidus Assassin in my army, and this is what Ryan was doing, how do I resolve the stratagem and the Calidus Assassin's Reign of Confusion ability? Each roll is rolled for separately. So if your opponent spends command points to use a stratagem, just like the rule reads, you would roll 1d6 for the Stranglehold stratagem and 1d6 for the Reign of Confusion. Your opponent would have to spend one additional command point for each successful roll. So basically, no matter how many command points they spend, you're rolling once.
Okay.
Per the rule. So it's interesting you mentioned that. Yeah, interesting you mentioned that, because I had a deep dive there, and it was emotional for me to tell my best bud that he can't play his rule the way he thought he was, and it causing a loss in the game,
Well, it's a good thing you made the right call, because you're in the moment of using the rule yourself.
Right.
You want to go as the way you read it.
Yep. Yeah. It was interpretive. It was totally interpretive. Thus, why there's an FAQ. But yeah, it's tough being the judge sometimes, man. You got to, especially when there's a clock ticking and it's a heated battle. It's rough going to a table when the emotions are high. Sometimes, and you're like, damn, dude, like. I don't know. I know you both really want to be right, and you both are staring at me with your furrowed eyebrows, like you're going to be really pissed at me if I say the wrong one. What you showing off there, Chris?
It is a Venom Throat body I've been using to kit bash some missing Hive Guard that I've been trying to build. But yeah, just some. I've been toying around with a lot of warriors, a lot of hobby projects going on lately. I'm building zone tropes, warriors, all kinds of crap.
I just saw Mike walk by, and he was playing a newer player here in the store, and that mother son of a gun, he was. I was teaching the new player how to talk shit to Mike, and I was like, dude, if you just talk a bunch of shit, Mike will roll terribly. So I was over there. I was just standing at the table just berating Mike, like, don't mess up, man. You sure you want to move there? It was awesome. But Mike, that son of a bitch, was rolling. He brought 18 Hive Guard to the table, dude. 18.
Oh yeah, man. 18 Hive Guard is not something to be trifled with. I mean, that's literally, that's 720 points of Hive Guard. It's no joke.
You're gonna have to deal with that. Yeah. Additionally, dude, he's talking about making a list that has like the whole rest of his army will be like 2 Malanthropes, and the whole rest of them's all Zone Thropes.
Oh, dude, Zone Thropes are gross too. I mean, deal with basically Storm Shields. And
you watched the game with me and Mike, right? Where his one Zone Thrope held me up for like 2 turns.
Oh yeah, man.
That's son of a bitch.
I mean, I've got 6 Zone Thropes actually sitting right in front of me that are like basically just waiting to be primed and painted. Because that'll bump me up to 14 out of the max 18 I could field.
When Zone Thropes are a unit of like 5+, they put out a D3+3 smite, I believe.
Yeah, well, so if they're 6 model strong, it is a flat +3. And then it is, if they're between 4 and 5, it's an added D3 cap. Not today. They're good, man. I mean, Zone Thropes, people are a little salty going into the new codex because you used to be able to field Zone Thropes in units of 1 to 3. So you could have like mini psychers, but in 8th edition they shifted it to it being it actually just improving the smite with a Brotherhood of Psychers kind of rule.
Yeah.
And they're good, man. They're definitely good, especially if you get a Neurothrope around them. That whenever he smites successfully, he can heal zone thrope units and stuff like that. Like it's strong.
I dig it, dude. I dig it. I am curious to see that on the channel. I'm excited to see more bugs just in general hanging around. I'm excited when you come back home, Chris. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
I got to poke at him, guys. Got to poke at him. I'm excited to run more of this Alpha Legion Flawless Host conglomeration I have here. The Possessed did work in that game with Mike as well. That was my first time running them, and yeah, they're fucking. I mean, it's interesting to look at. Possessed are good. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? It's interesting to look at the Berserker profile next to the Possessed profile, though. They are literally a point off of one another.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It's a 1 point difference per model, but the Possess 7-inch move, 2 wounds, count as demons, have a 5-up invuln, and the fact that they count as demons give you all kinds of keyword capabilities. But they have a D3 amount of attacks, always getting that +1 for the for being Heretic Astartes. For the when they're charged or not charged. But the amount of output that the Berserkers get, they move an inch less, they only have 1 wound, they both have 3-up saves. The Possessed, I believe, are toughness 5, right? They're strength 5, they're still toughness 4, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds right to me. I mean, I think for me, one of the bigger things to think of that is hard for me to wrap my head around when comparing the two is the difference in wounds, because that seems hugely significant. But then you look at all the other rules and interactions that go into play, and you're like, oh, wow, like, this unit has OBSEC, or this unit has, like a safe or consistent damage, but it loses out the chance to swing again. Like, they are very comparable, but still very different.
Yeah. But the fact that they both can be concealed, though, by the Alpha Legion strat, like, the conceal makes Berserkers a viable thing that can walk up the board and just shred when it's time for them to shred. You can follow along your other big guys, and they can be that backup bully without worrying about them getting shot off the board before they get to do their magic,
Yep, that's how I like them. It does suck when they don't get the extra attack, because it's twice that they don't get the extra attack, like not being world leaders.
Yep.
Like that one's pretty like big, because like world leaders also get the 9-inch forward operative. So all you're missing is that conceal, but that conceal is huge.
It's game winning. It's game changing, right? It's so
absolutely.
Great.
And neg 1 to hit outside of 12 inches is another big thing. If you do risk it,
I can't resist. It's taking up all my detachment options, really. I
I'm
always
just
want to bring
a
demons.
fan of them because of all the extra movement. Like, movement's such a huge part of the game, and you're talking about moving within people's lines and within an inch of enemy models.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it's huge. And then you fight again for the 3rd time. Like, that's just too many inches. Too many inches.
Now, when you fight again for the 3rd time as Alpha Legion, is that what you're saying? You're saying you missed the movement of World Eaters, or just Alpha Legion in general? Like, they both have it, basically.
They both have it. I'm just saying the extra attack. Because World Eaters on the charge get an extra attack.
Now, you can still fight twice, though, with Alpha Legion Berserkers, right?
I'm sorry.
Fight a 3rd time, that is?
With 3 CP, because it's just a corn strat for any general Heretic Astartes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, just like the Slanesh one to shoot twice is just Slanesh Heretic Astartes. It's not Legion specific.
Yeah.
Endless cacophony.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big deal, man. When you're getting 3 attacks extra because you fought 3 times. It makes you miss World Eaters.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, hell, I've definitely had multiple people say, "Hey, World Eater discos ain't nothing to be shot." It's almost flawless host level.
It's close too. I mean, because you're getting an extra attack guaranteed, and then if you're going against
Imperium,
you're still exploding.
Yeah. Dude, I'm in love with the -2 to hit disco. I think it's awesome. And like when I was running around with that Dark Apostle, I'm like, cool. I'm going to keep, whenever I've run out of CP to conceal my possessed, I'm just going to start using the Benediction of Darkness on the possessed. Now they're -2 to hit, and I already have a default -2 to hit disco. And it feels great.
I bet it does. I bet it does. I would be very hard to not go Nurgle and just give them that extra -1 to be -3 out in the open.
I really enjoy the one. I like the advance and charge mechanic. Obviously, if you're going to do the Mind Veil thing, it's fun to roll the 4d6 and be able to charge afterwards. But I also, I mean, that's tight. But then also, I like that the Benediction of Darkness is the prayer, and even if you go second, it goes off at the start of the battle round. So you're still getting it off. It's not getting denied. So there's no denying. There's no perils. You can disciple that shit and do it on a 2-up with a reroll CP. And it happens before the game starts. So you're guaranteed to get that -3 off if you want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always feel myself in a weird position with those apostles because I play a lot of rhinos. So it puts them in these positions where they're either out in the open if you bring the disciples, or you're taking up a lot of space inside of a rhino. And then you don't get it until they come out, so then you have to wait a whole another turn before you actually get your prayer off. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yo, KD9 sent us these cool, sparkly Twitch gems, man. He's like, yo, do you guys summon demons? I think we've been known I think I've known a time or two to summon a few demons there. Appreciate the gems, man.
Dude, summoning demons is where it's at.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I certainly haven't done it near as much. Like when 8th first kicked off, I was bringing like 800-point lists to the table, sometimes less, and just summoning everything.
That's how I got everything I wanted in that Highlander game I played like last year. It was single detachment, 1,500 points.
Right.
So I brought World Eaters and I summoned all my demons.
Yep.
Like all my torn bloodletters and shit. I did great in that tournament. It was a lot of fun. But
Honestly,
that was the way I was able to play that.
When I think of summoning now, I think of Sigmar, man, because it's free summoning in Sigmar, and I'm like, dude, I summon all the fucking time. I summon demons every game, but it's free. Dude, by the way, Tuesday, just yesterday, actually, we filmed an awesome Sigmar bat rep of doubles game. We did, my buddy Will just got his OCR Bone Reapers painted up by Oscar Lars Painting Studios, and they're like top grade, fantastic, out of control, awesome. And so we were pretty much doing a bat rep just to feature those because he didn't have a full 2,000 point set. We did teams, and so he played the Bone Reapers with the Gloom Spike Gits, which has all the jumping around squigs and shit and goblins. And I was playing Tzeentch with my buddy Brandon playing Khorne. And we played the Stampede where all the Blood Crushers do mortal wounds on the impact. And we brought this hero that makes the Stampede all be count as like troops or battle line basically. So they filled our min requirements. And then I brought all the Tzeentch Flamers. And there's these two characters that get 10 free pink horrors with them. So like they spawn that out, kind of like Karnak makes Fleshhound spit out. And it was a badass game, dude. Lots of coolness. Yeah, and that, in Sigmar, the chaos is so rewarded, that we get our own books when we play Tzeentch and when we play Khorne. So he had Khorne Blood Ties, and I had Tzeentch Destiny dice. And here I am playing with spells and fire and flames and shooting at range, and I'm super fast and shit. And he is just this charging, corny blood army that was using Blood Ties for all kinds of shenanigans. It was awesome. Yeah, so I want people to go check that out. It looked awesome. It was a great report. KD9's like, rad. I have a fluffy word bearers army painted up. Would like to try a heavy summoning list that people could have fun bashing. Our Necrons in 8th edition viable we got from Baba Wojcik.
Debatable. I would wait till they get their next publication from Psychic Awakening.
Currently, I'd call them B tier.
Yeah. B minus, C plus.
No, they're B tier in the right hands.
Yeah, the thing is about Necrons that I've found to hear, the reason they're not consistent winners in events is because their weapons aren't very consistent. Their mechanic to come back isn't consistent. A lot of times people are bringing the 3 Doomsday Arcs, and those guys are D6 damage on D6 shots, I think.
Yep.
And so they just don't get, they can easily whiff out, and then if you kill the whole squad, nobody's coming back. And even if there's a few guys left, they still got to roll dice. There's still an element of luck. So if you're an unlucky player, do not play Necrons. If you can roll some high, then go for it.
also raises a good point. From what I've heard, those arcs are one of the more unpleasant kits to put together.
Yeah.
They're not that bad. But yeah, I like them because you just get 3 planes, 3 arcs, and then fill out Tesla, and you're pretty standard. Like
Yeah.
you got all the tools to wreck it as you need. You can go cold on the arcs. That's why I'm a big proponent to going 2 arcs instead of 3, and then you go heavy destroyers. Because
Destroyers are good.
heavy destroyers are super cheap las cannons, and they're very, very tough platforms.
Man, I mean, hell, you could, what was really impressive is the Necron player that played in our major event, Kyle Massey, I believe his name was. He went 4.
Dude, he did great.
Yeah, he won 4 out of 5 matches in our major event, and he played Iron Hands 3 games in a row. I think he even played Iron Hands 4 fucking games and beat them.
He did.
He won 3 times, lost the 4th time against Iron Hands, and that was against the player that won the tournament.
Iron Hands was a lot, but man,
That's
if you can
pre-FAQ.
constantly keep touching them and making it so they can't shoot, and you keep putting them in like tough positions where they're not like getting all their shots off on the prime targets, and they're just kind of shooting at dumb shit, dude, they are pretty easy to deal with.
Yeah, nah, that's fair. Those ones loyal is a Necron player. He said he enjoyed painting his arcs. Tachyon Arrow never fails, right? KD9, that makes me laugh. Those ones loyal says though that airbrush was a savior for that, and when Necrons roll average, they cut right through Marines. If they can roll average or above, you're fine. If you roll like Mike does, don't watch our bat reps. The Necrons will look terrible. Worst Necron player ever. That was a comment. He's not. He's a great player. But it was funny. I love Mike. I just like talking shit to Mike too. Fuck you, Mike, if you're out there, buddy.
Oh, wow. Standing right behind you, bro.
Oh, shit. No, Mike's awesome.
Breathing intensifies.
I love Mike. I want to fight him more and make him laugh some more. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm excited to see Mike beat me with Tyranids, and not fuck up,
Me too,
Mike,
man.
Yeah, Mike. Those ones loyal. Mike needs to just believe like Peter Pan, and Mike knows what that means. Peter Pan. Oh God. Good shit. But guys, it's been an hour. It's been an hour and 6 minutes, 29 seconds, 30 seconds, 31 seconds. It's been a good time.
Yo, George, before we start wrapping up, I do have one question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think about that new Ragnar model we saw teased?
I wasn't that excited. Gazgul Thraka was way fucking cooler.
Definitely. I mean, Gaz, he's as big as like a dreadnought now, like if not like a Primaris dreadnought.
He's incredibly sized, yes.
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, that old school Ragnar model was old now, man.
I mean, it's like certainly better. It's certainly better than he was, but it's no like Lehman Russ or something. They could have gave us the Allfather, man, or whatever.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I could be more excited. If they make Fenris and Wolves troops, I'll high five everybody.
Also, on the rumor mill, we saw the tease for the Fabius Bile and his little minion or whatever come out of, I forget what the gaming convention is, GMT or something. GAMA, I think. That's really interesting because that is a Emperor's Children model. And Emperor's Children is not one of the icons listed for Psychic Awakening, which has the implication maybe we're going to see an Emperor's Children Legion book.
Do you really think it's an Emperor's Children model? I was always under the impression Fabius Bile was undivided.
I mean, I think he can be in any army, but he is definitely...
Lucius Eternal is the leader guy for the...
He's one of their champions, yes.
Yeah, like he's the Herald where like you got Karn for World Eaters, you got Typhus for Death Guard, Ahriman for Thousand Suns.
Right.
Yeah.
I always thought Fabius Bile was undivided.
He can be run undivided popularly, but he is of the Emperor's Children Legion originally.
See, I'm not a fluffhead. That's just all I knew.
Yep. Chris is resident fluffhead.
Wow.
He is.
So, you like sucking on that fluff.
Listen, man, the fluffier the better.
Wow.
Well, with that note, it's been a good time. This episode flew right by. I'm always like, what are we gonna talk about? And then we just go and go, don't we, gents?
That's about what always happens.
That's what's up. Episode 93, a success. It's cool to see KD9. Cool to see Matt Howe out there. I'm looking forward to seeing you this weekend, Matt, when we play some Kill Team. Hopefully,
Damn.
yeah.
The people that's speaking, he is definitely the Emperor's Children. I should never talk shit on Fluff, man.
Yeah, dude. Get it together. It's good to see old Kevin out there. Sheldon, thanks for tuning in. Kill Team Stream. Gary Frank. We had all kinds. Big Cleat, what's up, buddy? Good to have you. Ryan, Those Ones Loyal. Guys, go check out his bat reps. They're awesome to watch. Connor's going to come up Friday. You guys can watch me try to take on the Eldari. He might not be coming, sadly. The damn Corona. All right. Well, that's all right. I'm a little worried about this weekend's event popping off with Kill Team, being that there is this 40K narrative escalation league popping off. So everybody's going to be playing these 500-point games. We'll see how it goes.
Sweet.
Yeah, videos, they'll be coming. Stay tuned. Like us and all that stuff and share. And we appreciate you. Keep taking fun seriously. We'll catch you next time. Peace.